Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel SMS Tech Desk. So this is a very important class, especially for those who already worked on VCF 4.x and 5.x. Most people think VCF 9 is a completely new product. No, so that is the first misunderstanding. VCF 9 is the same foundation, but VMware and Broadcom have cleaned up the architecture and naming. Like earlier, it was too confusing, too many products, then too many names. So now let me explain slowly with some examples to understand the component comparison between 5.x and 9.0. So to understand the difference between 5.x and 9.x, we have so many components to understand. So let's start off with Cloud Builder, that means VCF installer. In VCF 5.x, we had Cloud Builder. Cloud Builder was very basic, and what did we do? We fill an Excel deployment parameter sheet, then we generate a JSON file. Then Cloud Builder just executed that JSON file, and we manually define passwords for ESXi, vCenter, NSX, SDDC Manager, and we have to download a bundle separately, or else we need to use offline bundle utility as a separate tool. Okay, now come to VCF 9.0. In 9.0, 5.x, we used Cloud Builder. There we have two options, right? One is VMware Cloud Foundation and another one is VMware Cloud Foundation or Dell EMC VXL. These are the two options available. But here in VCF 9.0, this Cloud Builder has been replaced with VMware Cloud Foundation installer. Okay, so this is completely redesigned. So first major change here is it will provide you with the option, to install VCF or VVF. But here in 5.x, VMware Cloud Foundation option is there, but VVF option is not there. In 9.0, we got a VVF option. Okay, and the next change is the depot model. So depot model, like installer, we don't have any depot model option here. Okay, but here in 9.0, we have online and offline depot fully integrated. So online depot means you can connect your VCF installer directly to the internet, and using an access token, you can download all the required products components for starting the VCF installation. So that is online depot. One more depot option is there called offline depot. So here in offline depot, we have to create a web server. In that web server, you need to upload all your software packages components. So using that offline depot, we can start your VMware Cloud Foundation installation. So offline depot is required for places where we don't have internet connectivity. At that point of time, you can go for offline depot. So these are the two major depot options which is available in VCF 9 that was not there in VCF 5.x. Then next is about password handling. So here in 5.x, we need to create passwords manually, right? But 9.0, it will generate the password automatically for all the components. You no need to generate, because nowadays password complexity has been increased, right? Minimum 12 characters with some alphanumeric characters and special characters. In that case, this VCF, it will automatically generate the ESXi password, vCenter password, NSX password, SDDC manager, okay, and all strong, compliant, and consistent. We don't manually type passwords anymore. This reduces, human error massively. Then the fourth change in VCF 9. So no deployment parameter worksheet. So people who already worked on 5.x, they know we used the Excel sheet, to start with the initial deployment of 4.x and 5.x. That is not required anymore here in VCF 9.0. Okay. Then next fifth one is about pre-checks and validation. So VCF installer, it do much deeper checks, okay, than the cloud builder. Okay, so it will do network validation, DNS check, NTP check, then MTU checks, then IP reachability checks. Okay, so earlier, many issues came only during the deployment. Now most issues are caught before deployment starts. That's the advantage of the pre-check validation option, which is there in VCF 9.0. I hope you got some conclusion, on the difference between the comparison between the VMware Cloud Builder, which is used in 5.x, and VCF 9.0 VMware Cloud Foundation installer. So when someone asks, is VCF installer just Cloud Builder renamed? Your answer should be no as of now, because VCF installer is Cloud Builder plus, integrated depot, token based downloads, automated passwords, VVF VCF awareness, better validation, then modern user interface and API model. Okay, so now we got the bigger picture, right? VCF is not about new features, it's about removing operational pain, then less manual work, less Excel sheet, less password mistakes, more automation, and more standardization. So now let's move to the next component. Now let's talk about SDDC Manager. So this is where many people still having old thinking. So please listen carefully. In VCF 5.x, SDDC Manager was the boss. So if you want to bring up the VCF environment, then we need a SDDC Manager, all right? So bring up, we need SDDC Manager. Then for doing the lifecycle management of the components, especially the vSphere components like ESXi, vCenter, NSX, all those lifecycle will be taken care by this SDDC Manager. Then SDDC Manager is responsible for ESXi host commissioning and ESXi host decommissioning. Then we'll be using the SDDC Manager for doing the patching activity. So almost everything went through SDDC Manager in VCF 5.x. Now let's come to VCF 9.0. Okay, so SDDC Manager is no longer the future control plane for VCF 9.0. Yes, SDDC Manager still exists in VCF 9, but its role is shrinking, and it's not expanding anymore. Okay, because Broadcom is very clear on this. SDDC Manager UI is already deprecated on this VCF 9.0. Several SDDC Manager APIs also got deprecated. So more functionality will be removed in the upcoming releases. That's what the announcement we got from Broadcom on this SDDC Manager. So what is happening instead in VCF 9.0? So in VCF 9, a big shift is happening here for SDDC Manager, whereas Operations Manager, VCF Operations, that is becoming the center of gravity here. Okay, so all the responsibilities, roles and responsibilities which is used in SDDC Manager in the 5.x environment, that will be taken care by this Operations Manager in VCF 9.0. So many things that we used to do in SDDC Manager are now moved to VCF Operations. Okay, for example, the lifecycle management of vSphere components, then health check, pre-check, then fleet level operations, then multi-domain view, then uh, future lifecycle workflows. Okay, all of these are now designed around VCF operations, not SDDC Manager. Even lifecycle management is changing its direction. Okay, earlier SDDC Manager was tightly coupled with lifecycle. Now lifecycle intelligence, readiness check, upgrade planning, dependency awareness, all of this is increasingly operations driven, right? So all these things comes from the VCF Operations Manager. So think of it like this. Earlier model, SDDC manager was the driver and operations was just doing the monitoring, the ARIA operations, right? Now in VCF 9 model, operations is the driver and SDDC is manager, it's a backend executor, that's it. And Broadcom is very open about this roadmap. They're not hiding it. They say clearly SDDC manager will be further reduced in the upcoming releases. So more responsibilities from SDDC manager will move to VCF operations. In future major releases, SDDC manager may exist only as a service layer, not as a primary user interface. So when someone asks you in an interview or project, is SDDC manager still the heart of VCF? Your answer should be in VCF 5.x, yes, it is the heart of VCF, but in VCF 9, no, because VCF operations is the future heart for your VCF environment. But still, SDDC manager is still needed today, no doubt about that. So it will bring up still, like touches it. Some workflows still depend on it, but directionally it improves. Its importance is going down in VCF 9.0. So this is exactly why SDDC manager is user interface is deprecated, and also identity APIs, lifecycle APIs also got deprecated in VCF 9.0. Everything is moving toward a single unified operations plan. Okay, so please remember this line. VCF 9, SDDC manager is not the centric. VCF 9 is the operations centric. Okay. Okay, so now we got some understanding about the comparison between SDDC manager in 5.x and VCF 9.x. Now let's move on to the next component. Okay, now let's move to a very important change in VCF 9. The ARIA operations to the VCF operations. Okay, so this is just not a rename. Okay, because earlier it was ARIA operations in 5.x and now it is VMware Cloud Foundation operations, not just a rename. This is a design and the strategy change which is happened in VCF 9.0. Okay, so first let me take you back to VCF 5.x. Okay, so that everyone is clear. In VCF 5.x we had separate products like for ARIA operations for logs, then ARIA operations for networks, ARIA lifecycle, right? This is how it was there earlier. So as an administrator, what was the pain? Because we need to maintain multiple user interfaces, then we need to maintain multiple appliances, then multiple upgrade paths, then multiple patching cycles. Okay, so multiple integrations with the SDDC manager. This was a painful task for the admins, right? So even though ARIA was powerful, it was still outside the core VCF control plane, because ARIA operations lifecycle management will be completely managed by a different tool called ARIA Suite Lifecycle Manager, not SDDC Manager. Okay, that's why they are saying that it was still outside the core VCF control plane. Now come to VCF 9.0. Here Broadcom makes a very clear statement. Operations should not be optional or external. Operations must be the center of the platform. Okay, that's why in VCF 9 this VMware Cloud Foundation operations become the center of the platform to completely manage the VCF. So what did they do here? They collapsed ARIA into VCF operations. Okay, from VCF 9 onwards we don't talk like this anymore. Install ARIA operations separately, integrate ARIA with SDDC manager, lifecycle ARIA using lifecycle manager. This is no more required. Okay, instead we say VCF operations, where VCF operation is just not just monitoring. This is and it's going to used for monitoring, then health check, lifecycle intelligence, upgrade readiness, fleet management, multi-domain visibility, and feature automation tasks. Okay, so when you hear VCF operations, don't think ARIA operations renamed. think Aria operations control plane for VCF. Okay. So in 5.x, Aria was supporting SDDC Manager. In VCF 9, SDDC Manager is supporting operations. So you can understand the major difference here. Okay. The next thing is there is a complete inversion of roles in VCF 9 for this VMware Cloud Foundation operation. Now let's break it clearly. So here you can find earlier it was Aria operations, right? Now it is VCF operations core. Aria operations for log, now it is VCF operations for logs. Earlier Aria operations for networks, which is there in 5.x, now in 9 VCF operations for networks. And Aria lifecycle, now it is VCF operations fleet management. So lifecycle is no longer a separate product, it is now built into operations. So why did Broadcom do this? There could be some reason behind that, right? Because customers were saying that I don't want 10 tools to manage the complete VCF environment. I want one platform. I want one place to see health. I want one place to upgrade, patch, okay, and also do some risk and dependency analysis. So here VCF operations is in that place as per the customer expectation. Now the very important point here is SDDC Manager does not decide everything anymore in VCF 9. It's VCF operations who is going to decide, is the system healthy, is it upgraded, or is it needs to be installed with any patches or any dependencies which is required. Then is it domain safe to touch. All those decision making will be done by the Aria, sorry, not Aria operations, VMware Cloud Foundation operations. Okay, so SDDC Manager just executes what operations approves. Okay, so SDDC Manager has to wait for the instruction from this operations manager. This is why Broadcom announced that SDDC Manager user interface has been deprecated in VCF 9. Then SDDC Manager Lifecycle API are deprecated because this is no more required. Those activities will be taken care by VCF operations, right? So here operations become primary user interface. So another important change here is operations is fleet aware. Okay. So earlier SDDC Manager saw domains, right? Now VCF operations see entire VCF fleet like management domain, workload domain, multiple sites, future multi-cloud integration. All those options will come under this VMware Cloud Foundation operation. Earlier it was there with SDDC Manager. So when someone asks you what happened to Aria in VCF 9, your answer should be Aria didn't disappear. Aria became the foundation of VCF operations. Operations is now the brain of the complete VCF environment. And one more important clarification. Aria operations for log is deprecated as a standalone product. But still log exists in VCF 9 also. You can still forward logs, but operations 9 does not depend on Aria logs 8.x integration anymore. This tells you one thing, right? Everything is being re-architected, not patched. So final takeaway for you as an engineer or architect or as a supporting person. VCF 5.x equal to SDDC Manager centric, and VCF 9.x it's completely VMware Cloud Foundation operations management. All the complete operations which is taken care by SDDC in 5.x has been taken care by operations in VCF 9. Okay, so Aria is a product, okay, and VCF operation is a platform layer. Okay, in upcoming releases you will see more workflows related to lifecycle action, automation, okay, and starting from VCF operations, not SDDC Manager anymore in VCF 9.0. Okay, next we'll move to the next component.